Why would I be worried about details at this point? Richard and I only got engaged a few months ago.
I certainly don't blame you for being irritated by that sort of unsolicited advice. You haven't even set a date yet, have you?
I'm sure you'd know if we had, I said dryly. Kurt ran an informal network of spies who kept him informed on most activities in our small town of Taylorsford, Virginia, among other locales. I expect your little birds would have tweeted something like that to you by now.
Indeed, they would have. Besides, I'm expecting a special invitation. I am a friend of the family, after all. Both families, if it comes to that.
Are you? I wrinkled my nose at him. Aunt Lydia might dispute that claim.
I doubt it. We've put aside many of our differences over the past year.
Then why haven't I seen you at our house since back in May? Your absence has been noted. Richard mentioned it just the other day. I told him you'd probably been out of the country on one of your art-buying trips. But I confess I've also wondered why you've become such a ghost. Kurt stared at the row of books above my head.
It's true. I've been traveling a lot, but...
He cleared his throat.
There is another reason. Most of those gatherings included a certain art expert who asks rather probing and often unwelcome questions.
Ah, Hugh. I pressed 2 fingers to my lips and considered my 66-year-old aunt's significant other, Hugh Chen, for a moment. You're not worried about him uncovering some shady dealings on your part, are you? I mean, not that I suspect you of engaging in such activities. Kurt's lips curled, baring his large white teeth.
I'm sure the thought has never crossed your very inquisitive mind. But yes, I prefer to keep some of my activities to myself. You know Hugh Chen has confessed to a long-term interest in my dealings in art acquisition and sales, so...
Kurt spread his hands wide.
I thought discretion was the better part of, well, not valor, I suppose.
Expediency? I suggested, widening my eyes and fluttering my lashes.
Let's say prudence.
Kurt shot me an amused smile.
And just so you know, those innocent doe eyes don't quite work. That tactic might work for your friend Sonny, but for you, not so much.
I grimaced. I've heard that before.
I'm sure.
Kurt glanced toward the circulation desk.
Where's Miss Fields, by the way? Off today?
Sunshine Fields was the only other paid library staff member, as well as my best friend. Although we typically covered the library hours together, there were times when we traded off, especially when our library volunteers were scheduled to work. No, but she told me she'd been late. She had to run some errands for her grandparents. Do you know Carol and P.J. Fields? Kurt looked away, although not before I noticed his lashes lower to shadow his bright blue eyes.
Of course, although we're not personally acquainted. But I'm aware that they run an organic farm outside of town. My chef often buys fresh fruits and vegetables from them. The farm has a picturesque name, as I recall.
Vista View. It's been in PJ's family for generations, and unlike most land around here, has been continually farmed. Sonny's told me the whole story. PJ inherited it, along with enough money to run the place from his grandparents after his parents refused to move back from the city. People in Taylorsford thought PJ would sell Vista View, since he was only 18 at the time. But he surprised everyone and decided to take it on and turn it into an organic farm, although he and Carol also ran it as a commune for a few years back in the early 60s. I tipped my head and examined Kurt's rugged profile. Were you still Paul Dasson's foster son when Carol and PJ started up the commune? I think that was in 1962 or 3. It was the talk of the town, according to Aunt Lydia, so I bet you would have heard something of it.
No. I left Paul's house in the early 60s, right after I turned 18, so I wasn't in the area at that point.
Kurt took a deep breath. Turning back to face me, he offered up a smile that once again reminded me of the wolf in one of the library's picture books.
Do you think your assistant will be in soon? I only asked because I actually dropped by the library expressly to see her.
I drummed my fingers against my thigh. I wondered what brought you here. I knew it wasn't for resources on art. We have a decent collection for a small public library, but having been to your home, I'm well aware that your personal collection is more extensive than what we could ever hope to shelve on that subject.
It is. And I even own numerous tomes on Caravaggio.
Kurt winked before tugging the sleeves of his tailored woolen jacket over his crisp white shirt cuffs.
Now, as you guessed,